Hello mathematicians, welcome to chapter 6.6, day 2. Hopefully by doing the homework you realize that there are 3 types of problems in this chapter. The first one asks us to find the percent given 2 numbers. The questions are like, 3 is what percent of 4? What percent of 4 is 3? One thing I'd like you to realize is when you have of 4, that means that the number 4 is on the bottom. So when it says 3 is what percent of 4, on the left-hand side, you're going to have 3 over 4. When it says what percent, you know that your unknown, in this case they use n, is going to be over 100. Remember that I told you every single one of these problems is going to have something over something equals something over 100. So you just have to figure out which parts go where. The second type of problem asks you to find the part. So what number is 75% of 4? Right off, they give you a percent, so you can fill in the right-hand side, 75%. Of 4 means 4 is on the bottom, and that only leaves one thing for our unknown number. The third type of problem is find the whole. So if it says 3 is 75% of what number, first you know that 75% is going to go on the right-hand side. Of what number means that the whole here is going to be unknown, and the 3 goes on top. Question 11 from the homework says 17 is what percent of 85? That's just like this top one. So it's going to look like this. We always have part over a whole equals some kind of percent. So 17 is what percent? We don't know what the percent is, but we know it's of 85. If we plug that in to a calculator and cross multiply it, we get x equals 20%. So 17 is 20% of 85. Question 13 says, what percent of 36 is 19.8? Again, what percent of 36 is 19.8 is going to be like that first problem. It says, what percent? So our unknown is what percent. If we plug this into our calculator and cross multiply, we get about 55% for our answer. This time we say, what is 84% of 150? This is similar to the second question, where we have of 150, So that goes on the bottom, and we have 84% on the right. So the only unknown we have is the part. If we plug this into our calculator and cross multiply, we get 126. Question 17 is just like the last one. Find 83% of 200. So the unknown is what part of 200 is 83%. To cross multiply, we take 200 times 83, divide by 100, and we get x equals 166. To do a mental check, we realize that 83 over 200 is very similar to x over 200, because I can go from 100 to 200 just by multiplying by 2. So if I multiply 83 also by 2, I get 166. It's always good to do a mental check to make sure that your answer makes sense to you. Question 19 is the third type of question. 27 is 90% of what number? So we're going to have an equation like that. Right off, I know I'm going to need 90%. It says of what number? So I know my bottom is the unknown, and my top is 27. Again, I take 27 times 100, 2700 divided by 90 gives me x equals 30. Another one of the third type, 21 asks us 4% of what number is 15? We know we have 4% on the right side, and we know we have of what number? We don't know. 15 must go on the top. If we take 15 times 100 and divide it by 4, that gives us x equals 375. Question 36 says, the table shows the number of people in each section of the school chorale. Which section makes up exactly 25% of the chorale? Well, right off the bat, we know that the right-hand side is going to be 25%. It's also asking us which one of these is 25% of the whole. How do we figure out what the whole is? We have to add up all the numbers in that column to figure out what the whole number of all the people in the chorale is. If I add all those up, I get a total of 60. So if I want to know what percent of 60 is 25, I just use the same equation as I've been using all along. I do my cross multiplication, 60 times 25, divide by 100, and I get 15. So which one of these four is the 25%? Well, that's got to be the altos, because there are 15 of them. So the answer is A. The last question asks, interest on a savings account is calculated every quarter of a year. During the first quarter, Jacqueline earned $54.84 in interest. This was 2% of her savings. How much was her total savings? Well, we know right off the bat we're going to have 2%. So now we need to figure out what is the part and what is the whole. Well, it says that she earned $54.84 in interest. This is the 2%. So is that her whole savings? No, that's the part of her savings that's interest. So we know that the part is $54.84, and we're trying to find out what are her whole savings. So if I set $54.84 over the whole equal to 2%, I can just cross multiply and I'll end up with the whole equals 2742. So all of these questions basically have three types. And this is right from your textbook. You're either trying to find the percent and you're given the part and the whole, or you're trying to find the part and you're given the percent and the whole with the word of in front of it. The last type of question is if you're trying to find the whole, and you'll see of what number, of what, of an unknown, which means the bottom is unknown. You'll find a percent, which you can put on the right, and a number, which goes on top. These are the only three types of questions you'll see in this chapter, and they are the most common types of percents that you'll see in real life too. I hope this helps.